How's it going, everybody? Welcome back, guys. I am back today with another video. I actually was coming across reading some things about the Idaho murders of four students that was actually brutally stabbed, and reading about it, they had people coming forward with any noises, screams, whatever, and they have. Actually, one neighbor recorded a scream coming on around 4 o'clock in the morning, and then he tells the cops about it and shares the video of the scream, of the audio of the scream coming from the house of 1122 in Idaho, Moscow, Idaho, of the four students that were brutally murdered. And then he posts on Facebook that he didn't hear anything. There was nothing. So now the cops are going to have to re-interview him. Guys, this is getting absolutely crazy. But first, love yourself, like yourself, be nothing but yourself. Like, subscribe to the channel, it's highly appreciated. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video.
The Idaho Statesman newspaper spoke to two people, each who live in the apartment building right next to the house where the students were killed. And both said that the street was unusually quiet that night, especially for a Saturday night on a block often teeming with parties and college kids. One neighbor said that she normally sleeps with earplugs, but that night said she didn't need to. And she also said when police came to her door the next day, she simply told them she hadn't heard anything that had alarmed her during the night. Another neighbor described the quiet as bizarre. He also told the newspaper he thinks he may have heard a scream as he was dozing off about 4 a.m. And that is the same time police say the murders likely occurred. The neighbor said he dismissed that scream as a party sound and said he didn't think anything of it, even when investigators knocked on his door the next day. He also says he told police about a black luxury SUV that he hadn't seen in the neighborhood before. He said it was only parked a few spaces away from the front of the crime scene. But late today, police told this program exclusively, and I quote, "We have not heard anything about an SUV. However, if there is something we need the public's assistance with, we'll release it like we did for the Hyundai." That neighbor wrote about the crime on Facebook about 12 hours after police found the bodies. And very curiously, he contradicted himself. Let me tell you what he wrote, presumably when his memory was still very fresh, just 12 hours after the murders. Quote, "4 killed in a stabbing across the street. No screams. No evidence. No trace." It is unclear why he is now telling the Idaho Statesman newspaper reporter that he did hear a scream right when he was going to sleep at 4 a.m.
And mind you, he's the same one that shared this audio, the scream, with the police. So now he comes forward on Facebook and says 4 killed in stabbing across the street, no screams, no evidence, no trace. So like professional killers question, like he's asking a question. It's crazy. But why on 3 sorority girls doesn't make sense. If he's the one that gave the audio to the police showing that there was a scream coming from these 4 girls that was brutally stabbed. Altogether, 6 people in the house, 2 survivors. The 4 was brutally stabbed and killed. And then he goes on Facebook and posts this. No evidence. No screams. Why would someone go and do that whenever you just provided audio to the police of them screaming, of someone screaming from that 1122? Which is the 4 students that was brutally stabbed. Why? It makes absolutely no sense at that point, because now you're going to be re-questioned and everything else. And did you provide false evidence to the police of 4 brutally stabbed teenagers? College students? Better word for it? It's absolutely insane, guys. Anyways, let's get right back to the video.
And that he didn't even mention that to the police. Perhaps now the police will re-interview him about what he says he heard and what he says he saw. And then there is this story of what another neighbor saw. Reports that that neighbor told the police that she saw the front door of the kids' home wide open about 8:30 a.m. on the morning of the murders. And if that detail was known to the police as well, it sure didn't seem to make its way to this guy, the chief of the police, James Fry, because when asked about it yesterday by the Daily Mail newspaper, Chief Fry said this was news to him. He said this, and I quote the paper, "I'm not even sure where that came from, to be quite honest." I'm confused. I don't know about you, but I want to bring in Caitlin Becker because she is a senior reporter for the dailymail.com, and that's the newspaper that got that interview. So, Caitlin, I am not quite clear on how the chief of police couldn't have heard anything and seemed surprised by your newspapers even asking the question about the open door. Because if there's one detail that would stand out among many, it would be that the front door of the house where the murders happened was wide open just 4 hours or so after those kids were killed, and multiple hours before anybody would wake up.
Ashley, the neighbor told us that it was 8:30 in the morning and the door was wide open. It stood out to me. It stands out to you. It is very curious that the police don't seem to have any information about this. I don't know if that's because maybe some people are hesitant to talk to the police versus.
So why wouldn't you go to the police and tell the police? When it was said that they went to the police and the police knew about this and was aware about this door being open. It was even said in one of the interviews about this door being open at 8:30 in the morning. Because everybody was wondering, well, there's 2 survivors. How did you see the door open? Was it whenever one of the survivors ran outside and actually fainted because they walked up to the second floor and seen horrific scene? Is that why the front door was open? Maybe they're getting the stories mixed up. Maybe they're not. Maybe the door wasn't even open at that time. Just like the scream supposedly came from that house. He provided audio to the police of a scream. And he goes and says there's no evidence, no audio, nothing, but he's the one that provided it. What is going on in Moscow, Idaho? Anyways, guys, let's get right back to the video.
Versus talking to a reporter, but the question remains now that we've reported it and it's out there, the police still don't seem to have commented on the fact that the door was wide open that very morning.
And they've had multiple officers for 26 days. Just this scene last night, 5 more agents going in and out of that house. These were very unusual looking agents, though. They didn't have any evidence bags. They went in, they went out, didn't take any notes as they were walking through the house. We could see that through the window. They certainly appeared to be FBI, maybe on a go-see to get familiarized for the first time because they've added new FBI agents to this case, but they wouldn't answer our questions either as they walked by and kind of hid their faces, which was unusual as well. But I digress. I want to ask more about those local cops and the chief himself. We have been begging to get the police in an interview so that we could ask some of these questions for clarity, not even to give us, I'd like information about the case, but just to get clarity on their messaging. And they refuse. They've just flat out refused to do any interviewing with me particularly and many of our reporters and producers. Thank you for watching. Go to...
There you guys go. It is absolutely crazy, guys. We have audio being turned over to the Moscow, Idaho police. The guy posts that turned that audio over of the scream coming from that house at 1122, which is the 4 students that was brutally stabbed, of the girls yelling and screaming that night. And then he posts on Facebook that there's no evidence and no audio. Front door was supposedly left open. The cops don't even know about it, guys. What is happening in Moscow, Idaho is crazy, guys. I had to share this with you guys. Go check out the channel. There's more where that comes from, guys. But first, love yourself, like yourself, be nothing but yourself. Like, subscribe to the channel. It's highly appreciated. Thank you, guys. Your boy Deuces. I'm out. Thank you.